My dad called my career filthy and cut me out of the family fortune, then asked me for $120,000 when my brother wrecked the family business. Now they're all learning that blood doesn't guarantee loyalty. I'm Marcus, 32, and I own a successful chain of auto repair shops across Texas. Good money, steady customers, honest work with my hands, but to my family, I might as well be collecting garbage for a living. Growing up, everything was about appearances. Dad owned a real estate development company. Mom was obsessed with country club status. My younger brother Tyler was the golden child destined to inherit everything. I was different, loved working on cars since I was 12. Dad called it beneath our family, said I was embarrassing the family name by getting my hands dirty like some common mechanic. When I turned 18, I told them I wanted to study automotive engineering. Dad's reaction was nuclear, said he wouldn't waste a penny on trade school, that real men build empires, not fix broken cars. So I left, got a job at a local garage, worked nights to pay for community college, lived in a studio apartment above the shop, ate ramen every day for 2 years straight. My parents never called to check if I was okay, never asked if I needed anything. Radio silence for the entire time I was building my life from nothing. Meanwhile, Tyler got the full royal treatment. Ivy League business school, luxury apartment, brand new BMW for his 16th birthday. Everything handed to him on a silver platter. 5 years later, I'd saved enough to buy my own shop. Small place, just me and 2 employees. But it was mine, built with my own sweat and determination. Tyler was still in college, changing majors every semester. Dad kept paying tuition while complaining about his lack of focus. But Tyler could do no wrong in their eyes. I started making real money around year 3, expanded to a second location, hired more staff. Word was getting out that we did quality work at fair prices. Still no contact from my family. I'd see them at Christmas and Easter, but they treated me like a distant relative, always asking when I was going to get a real job. By year 5, I had 4 locations and was looking at expansion into neighboring cities. My shops were booked solid for weeks in advance. I was making more than Dad's development company some months. That's when Tyler graduated and came into the family business. Dad made a huge announcement about passing the torch to the next generation, about legacy and family values and tradition. I wasn't invited to the celebration dinner, found out about it from social media when Tyler posted pictures, my own brother's business milestone, and I learned about it like a stranger. Things got weird about 6 months later. Dad started calling me occasionally, just checking in, he said, asking about my business, my success, my plans for growth. I should have known something was up. In 25 years, he'd never shown interest in my achievements, but I was stupid enough to think maybe he'd finally come around. Then came the phone call that changed everything. Dad's voice was stressed, almost panicked. The development company was in trouble. A major project had fallen through at the last minute. They needed $150,000 to avoid bankruptcy. Could I help the family out? Just a loan, he promised. Tyler would pay me back once the company recovered from this temporary setback. I was torn. Part of me wanted to hang up and let them figure it out themselves, but they were still my family, and Dad seemed genuinely desperate for the first time ever. Against my better judgment, I transferred $150,000 to the company account the next day. Dad was so grateful he almost cried, promised I'd get every penny back with interest. That was 18 months ago. I never saw a dime of repayment. When I asked about it, Dad said the company was still recovering. Maybe next quarter, he'd say. Meanwhile, Tyler was posting pictures from expensive vacations, new clothes, fancy restaurants, weekend trips to Aspen. Clearly, the company wasn't struggling that much if he could afford luxury lifestyle. Last month, everything exploded. I got a call from my Uncle Mike, Dad's brother. He worked part-time at the development company doing bookkeeping and had some disturbing news. There had never been a failed project, no financial crisis, no emergency that required $150,000 to prevent bankruptcy. Dad had lied about everything to get money from me. The real story was even worse. Tyler had been embezzling from company accounts for months, taking cash for fake consulting fees, inflating expense reports, even selling company equipment. Dad discovered the theft but couldn't bring himself to turn in his golden child. Instead, he used my money to cover the missing funds and hide Tyler's crimes from the other investors. My $150,000 had been Tyler's get-out-of-jail-free card, and Dad had manipulated me into providing it by lying about a crisis that never existed. I was furious, but I wasn't stupid. I knew if I confronted them directly, they'd just deny everything and make excuses. I needed a better plan. First, I hired a private investigator to document Tyler's spending habits. Easy enough since he posted everything on social media. Designer clothes, expensive dinners, luxury hotel stays. Next, I had my accountant analyze the timeline of Tyler's purchases versus when I'd given Dad the money. The correlation was obvious once you laid it out properly. Then I did something that felt both satisfying and necessary. I sent Dad a certified letter demanding immediate repayment of the $150,000 plus interest. Gave him 30 days to respond. His reply was exactly what I expected. The company was still struggling, he said. He needed more time. Maybe I could be patient with family, especially during difficult periods. So I sent him copies of Tyler's social media posts from the past 18 months, screenshots of expensive purchases, vacation photos, receipts from high-end restaurants, all time-stamped after my loan. I also included a simple message. If the company is struggling, why is Tyler living like a lottery winner? Pay me back now or I'm filing a lawsuit. The response came within hours. Not from Dad, but from Tyler himself. He called me screaming about invasion of privacy, threatening to cut me off from the family permanently. I laughed. Cut me off from what? A family that had ignored me for years and only contacted me when they needed money? That wasn't much of a threat. But Tyler wasn't done. He started calling my business partners, my employees, even some of my customers, told them I was financially irresponsible and couldn't be trusted. Big mistake. See, Tyler forgot that my reputation was built on years of honest work and fair dealing. His word meant nothing compared to my track record with people. Plus, I had documentation of everything. Recorded phone calls, text messages, financial records. Tyler's harassment campaign just gave me more ammunition for the lawsuit I was planning. My lawyer loved the case. Clear fraud, documented evidence, obvious damages. He said it was the kind of slam dunk case that usually settled out of court quickly. But I didn't want a settlement. I wanted a trial. I wanted public records of what they'd done. I wanted consequences that would follow them forever. The lawsuit hit them like a nuclear bomb. Dad had to hire expensive lawyers he couldn't afford. Tyler faced potential criminal charges for embezzlement and harassment. The local business community started asking questions about the development company's financial practices. Investors demanded audits. Clients canceled contracts over reputation concerns. Within 3 months, Dad's company was legitimately struggling for the first time ever. Not because of a failed project, but because of their own lies and criminal behavior. That's when the begging started. Mom called crying, saying I was destroying the family over money, that Tyler had made mistakes but didn't deserve to go to prison. I reminded her that they'd destroyed our relationship years ago when they decided I wasn't worth their time or respect. This was just the bill coming due. Dad tried a different approach, offered to make me a partner in the development company if I dropped the lawsuit, said we could be a real family business working together. I declined politely. Why would I want to be partners with people who'd proven they couldn't be trusted with money or basic honesty? The trial date approached and their desperation increased. Tyler finally admitted to the embezzlement and harassment, offered to sell his car and other assets to start paying me back. Too little, too late. I'd moved past wanting the money back. Now I wanted justice and accountability for years of disrespect and betrayal. The day before trial, they made one final offer. Full repayment plus $50,000 in damages if I agreed to drop all charges and sign a non-disclosure agreement. I countered with my own offer. Full repayment plus $100,000 in damages, no NDA, and Tyler had to publicly apologize for his behavior. Take it or see you in court. They took the deal. The money hit my account the next morning, along with a formal apology letter from Tyler admitting to embezzlement and harassment. I posted the apology letter on my business's social media accounts, not out of spite, but because my customers deserve to know the truth about the harassment campaign. The response was overwhelming. Customers expressed support and outrage at how my family had treated me. Some even brought me new business just to show solidarity. Dad's development company quietly went out of business 6 months later, not because of my lawsuit, but because their reputation never recovered from the scandal. Tyler had to move back in with our parents and take a job at a chain restaurant. His embezzlement record made him unemployable in any position involving money. Mom still sends guilt-trip texts occasionally, asking when I'm going to forgive the family and move past this unfortunate situation. I don't respond anymore. Recently, I heard through the grapevine that Dad needs surgery he can't afford. Medical bills are piling up, and they don't have insurance that covers the procedure. Part of me felt sorry for him, but then I remembered 18 months of lies about needing help while Tyler spent my money on luxury vacations. They made their choices. They chose favoritism over fairness, lies over honesty, greed over family loyalty. These are simply the consequences of those choices. My auto repair business is thriving. I just opened my 8th location and hired my 50th employee. Built something real and lasting with honest work and integrity. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if they'd just treated me with basic respect from the beginning, if they'd supported my dreams instead of mocking them. But then I realized their rejection was the best thing that ever happened to me. It forced me to become independent, self-reliant, and successful on my own terms. The family fortune they kept me from inheriting. It's gone now, lost to their own poor decisions and criminal behavior. Meanwhile, I built my own fortune through hard work. Blood doesn't guarantee loyalty. Family isn't about shared DNA, it's about shared values and mutual respect. Some people never learn that lesson. I have a new family now. My employees, my customers, the community I serve, people who value honesty and hard work over status and appearances. To anyone dealing with toxic family members who only contact you when they need something, remember this. You don't owe them anything just because you share genetics. Set boundaries. Protect yourself. Build the life you want, not the one they expect you to want. Sometimes the best family is the one you choose for yourself. Last week, Tyler sent me a friend request on Facebook. I declined it immediately. Some bridges stay burned, and that's okay. Thanks for reading my story. Sometimes the best revenge is simply living well while toxic people destroy themselves with their own choices. Update 1. The plot twist nobody saw coming, including me. 3 months after Tyler's public apology, I got a call from someone I never expected. Jennifer Walsh, a forensic accountant who'd been hired by Dad's former business partners to investigate the company's collapse. She had some disturbing news. Tyler's embezzlement was much worse than anyone realized. He hadn't just stolen from the company. He'd been running a sophisticated fraud scheme across multiple businesses. Jennifer had discovered Tyler was using fake identities to apply for business credit cards. He'd created shell companies to funnel money through. He'd even been selling confidential client information to competitors. The $150,000 I'd given Dad wasn't just covering Tyler's theft from their company. It was being used to pay back other victims before they discovered the fraud and called police. My money had essentially been funding Tyler's criminal enterprise while Dad played damage control. They'd turned me into an unwitting accomplice in a multi-year fraud scheme. Jennifer asked if I'd be willing to testify in the federal case they were building. Apparently, Tyler was looking at serious prison time for wire fraud, identity theft, and racketeering. I said yes immediately, not out of revenge, but because other people deserved justice for what Tyler had done to them. Small business owners, elderly investors, working families. The FBI raided my parents' house 2 weeks later, found computers full of evidence, fake documents, and records of Tyler's crimes going back 5 years. Mom called me sobbing that night, said they had no idea how deep Tyler's criminal behavior went, begged me to help them find a good lawyer because they couldn't afford one. I reminded her that they'd never helped me when I needed support, that they'd chosen Tyler over honesty and integrity repeatedly. These were the consequences of enabling a criminal. The federal trial made local news, headlines about the golden child of a prominent family facing decades in prison for elaborate fraud schemes. Tyler's mugshot was everywhere. During the trial, more victims came forward. People Tyler had scammed out of retirement savings, college funds, even medical bill money. The total damages exceeded $2 million. My testimony was devastating. I explained how Dad had lied to manipulate me into funding Tyler's crimes, how they'd used family loyalty as a weapon to enable criminal behavior. Tyler's lawyer tried to paint him as a troubled young man who'd made mistakes. The prosecutor showed evidence of systematic, calculated fraud designed to destroy innocent lives. The jury deliberated for less than 4 hours. Guilty on all counts. The judge sentenced Tyler to 12 years in federal prison, plus full restitution to all victims. Dad was charged as an accessory after the fact for helping cover up Tyler's crimes. He got 3 years probation and had to sell everything to pay his share of restitution. Mom lost the house, the cars, even her jewelry. They moved into a small apartment across town. She got a job at a grocery store for the first time in 30 years. But here's the part that really shocked me. After Tyler went to prison, I started getting letters from him. Not apologies, but angry rants about how I'd ruined his life by refusing to help. He blamed me for the FBI investigation, said if I'd just kept my mouth shut and accepted his theft, none of this would have happened. The audacity was breathtaking. I forwarded every letter to his probation officer. Turns out, attempting to intimidate witnesses is a violation of federal sentencing guidelines. Tyler got an additional 2 years added to his sentence. Meanwhile, my business continued growing. I opened 3 more locations and started a technical training program for young mechanics, giving kids the opportunities my family never gave me. One of my students was Jamie, an 18-year-old whose parents had disowned him for being gay. Reminded me of my own experience with family rejection, just different reasons. I hired Jamie full-time after his training and helped him get his own apartment. He's now one of my best mechanics and is saving money to go to engineering school. That's when it hit me. The family I'd built through my business was everything my biological family should have been. Supportive, honest, loyal, and built on mutual respect. 6 months after Tyler's sentencing, I got an unexpected visitor at my main shop. A woman in her 50s introduced herself as Carol Mitchell, Tyler's first victim. Tyler had scammed her out of her late husband's life insurance money 5 years ago. She'd lost her house and had to move in with her daughter. Never thought she'd see justice. Carol wanted to thank me for testifying, said she'd followed the whole story, and was grateful someone in Tyler's family had chosen to do the right thing. We talked for over an hour. She told me about other victims who'd been too ashamed or scared to come forward, elderly people who'd lost their savings, young families destroyed by Tyler's greed. That conversation changed my perspective completely. This wasn't about family drama or sibling rivalry. Tyler was a predator who destroyed innocent lives, and my parents had enabled him. I started a victim support fund using some of the restitution money I'd recovered, created a nonprofit to help people rebuild their lives after being victimized by financial crimes. The fund has helped dozens of Tyler's victims get back on their feet, provided emergency housing, job training, even college scholarships for kids whose education funds were stolen. Dad tried to contact me through the nonprofit's website, left a message saying he was proud of the good work I was doing and wanted to reconcile. I deleted it without responding. Last month, I got a letter from the federal prison where Tyler is serving his sentence. Not from him, but from another inmate who'd heard my story from news coverage. The inmate, Marcus Thompson, had grown up in a similar situation. Golden child brother who'd turned to crime, family that enabled the behavior, honest sibling who'd been rejected. Marcus had made different choices than me. He'd stayed loyal to his criminal brother and ended up as an accomplice. Now he was serving 15 years for his role in his brother's drug operation. His letter was a warning. He said Tyler was already planning his next schemes for when he got out of prison, talking about getting revenge on everyone who'd testified against him. I forwarded the letter to the FBI agent who'd handled Tyler's case. Turns out out planning future crimes while in federal prison is another violation that could extend his sentence even further. The agent thanked me for staying vigilant, said Tyler was exactly the type of criminal who never learned from consequences, only got better at avoiding them. 2 weeks ago, Tyler called me from prison. The call was recorded as all prison calls are. He wanted to make a deal. Information about other criminals in exchange for my help appealing his sentence. I told him I wasn't interested in any deals with someone who'd spent years destroying innocent lives, that his only chance at redemption was serving his full sentence and making real amends. Tyler got angry and started making threats about what would happen when he got out. I calmly reminded him that all calls were recorded and threatening witnesses was a federal crime. The call ended with Tyler screaming obscenities before the prison guards apparently took away his phone privileges. I haven't heard from him since, which is perfectly fine by me. My parents sent a Christmas card last year, just their names, no personal message. I threw it away without opening it. Some relationships can't be repaired, and that's okay. The business is doing better than ever. We're expanding into Oklahoma next year and looking at franchising opportunities. Built something legitimate and lasting through honest work. Jamie, the kid I helped after his family rejected him, just got accepted to Texas A&M for mechanical engineering. I'm paying his tuition as part of our employee education program. Watching Jamie succeed despite his family's rejection reminds me that blood doesn't determine character. Values do, choices do, actions do. Sometimes the best thing toxic family can do is reject you. It forces you to build something better on your own terms with people who actually deserve your loyalty. The Victim Support Fund just helped its 100th person get back on their feet after financial fraud. Real change, real healing, real justice for people who deserved better. That's Tyler's true legacy. Not the money he stole or the lives he damaged, but the community of survivors who came together to rebuild and help others. Every success story from the fund is proof that good people can overcome the damage caused by predators like Tyler. That justice isn't just about punishment, but about healing. To anyone whose family has chosen a criminal over an honest person, remember this: you can't control their choices, but you can control yours. Choose integrity over loyalty to people who don't deserve it. Build the family you deserve, not the one you were born into. Surround yourself with people who share your values, not just your DNA. And if they come asking for help after enabling criminal behavior, remember that saying no isn't cruel. It's necessary. It's healthy. It's justice. Thanks for following this journey. Sometimes the best revenge is building something beautiful while toxic people destroy themselves with their own choices.